Yeah, not going to get into all the specifics, Jeff, but obviously it did not go as we thought it would. Yeah, I make every call. Again, it's a 2-point play. Didn't come through on our first 2-point play. Got to the second 2-point play. We didn't come through, but that's on me.
The entire vibe in Cleveland just flipped overnight, and what Kevin Stefanski dropped in his latest press conference has the whole NFL talking. After weeks of people arguing, criticizing, and accusing the Browns staff of holding Shedeur Sanders back with super safe play calls, the head coach stepped in front of reporters and hit everyone with a message that has Browns fans fired up and Titans fans nervous. Stefanski made it clear, very clear, that he's finally ready to unleash Shedeur Sanders. He's ready to let the kid sling the ball, ready to open the offense, and ready to give this young quarterback the type of opportunity he's been waiting for since the moment his name was called on draft night. Once you hear exactly what Stefanski said, once you catch the meaning behind this sudden shift, once you understand what this means for Sunday's showdown with the Titans, you'll see why this game just turned into must-watch TV and why Shedeur might be stepping into his first true breakout moment in the league. So let's go straight to Stefanski's exact words from his midweek press conference, because this is where everything snapped into place. Reporters asked him directly about Shedeur, specifically whether he was ready to be more aggressive throwing the ball and whether the coaching staff trusted him enough to loosen things up. Stefanski's response landed perfectly. He explained that young quarterbacks naturally go through a real adjustment phase when they first face NFL speed and defensive schemes. He talked about how seeing these looks for the first time can create hesitation and how learning to adapt is just part of stepping into the professional level. But then Stefanski said the exact line Browns fans have been waiting on for weeks. He said, and this is the direct quote that deserves to be spotlighted, "I have no concerns about him letting it rip." Let it rip. Those 3 words flipped the narrative instantly. Those 3 words signaled that Kevin Stefanski is finally putting his trust in his young quarterback and giving him room to show what he can really do when the offense isn't held back.
Well, I think he's doing a nice job of operating the offense, and I know, knowing the person and knowing the player, I have no concerns about him letting it rip, quote unquote.
Those 3 words mean the limitations are gone, and Shedeur Sanders is about to show the entire NFL what his game looks like when he's allowed to play freely and confidently. This wasn't just another press conference. This was a turning point for how the Browns are choosing to handle their young leader on offense, and the timing couldn't be better. Cleveland is gearing up to face the Tennessee Titans this weekend, one of the teams that's been struggling the most this season. Their defense has had problems all year, making them the perfect matchup for a young quarterback to gain rhythm, momentum, and real confidence. And now, instead of holding Shedeur to around 20 passes like they did in earlier games, it sounds like Stefanski is ready to crack the playbook wide open and actually design plays that show off Shedeur's throwing ability. If the moment calls for 35 or even 40 pass attempts, the Browns sound ready to let him go for it. The impact of Stefanski's comments can't be exaggerated because this is a full turnaround from everything people in Cleveland have been debating for weeks. Local radio has been buzzing non-stop about how the Browns were running an offense that felt too restricted and overly cautious. But now the tone has changed dramatically. Fans have been annoyed watching Shedeur throw only 61 passes across 3 total starts. And people all over sports media have been questioning why the staff wasn't trusting a quarterback who showed major arm talent throughout his college career. And now, out of nowhere, Kevin Stefanski is standing at the podium telling the world he has 0 concerns about Shedeur letting it rip. And that's not just some quick line, it's a full-on statement of belief aimed at Shedeur, the locker room, the fan base, and every team watching around the league. We've got to break down what letting it rip actually means, because this isn't about launching a deep pass every single snap. When Stefanski says that, he's talking about giving Shedeur real freedom, the kind of freedom where a quarterback can make plays on instinct, switch calls at the line when he spots a favorable matchup, and actually push throws into tight windows when the moment calls for it. He's talking about trusting him to take smart risks, the type that lead to explosive plays and can flip a game's entire momentum in seconds. This is about treating Shedeur like a true NFL starter, not a rookie who needs to be sheltered every time the offense takes the field. And the timing of Stefanski's comments makes everything hit even harder because he was clearly addressing the big discussion everyone's been having. A reporter mentioned mentioned that Shedeur said he felt like he saw what he needed to see against the 49 ERS, but didn't always let the ball go or hesitated to rip it for whatever reason. And that's a direct reference to moments where Shedeur had chances to push the ball downfield, but instead checked down to safer options. There were plays where he could have tested the defense but stayed conservative, and the whole offense looked like it had a limiter holding it back from really opening up. Stefanski's response was spot on because he didn't ignore the development curve, he acknowledged it, but he also made it clear that moving forward, he wants Shedeur to be aggressive, to trust his arm, and to let that ball fly whenever the opportunity is there. Now let's talk about what this means for the Tennessee Titans game, because this matchup just became way more interesting. The Titans have been struggling across the board this season, and their defense sits near the bottom of the league in multiple categories. Their pass rush hasn't been getting consistent pressure, their secondary keeps giving up big plays, and their offense hasn't been controlling the clock or keeping their defense off the field. Put simply, this is exactly the type of opponent where an aggressive passing attack can take over the whole game. This is the type of defense a strong-arm quarterback can dissect snap by snap. This is the type of matchup where an offense can find real rhythm by attacking through the air and forcing the Titans to chase the game instead of dictating it. So if Kevin Stefanski sticks to what he said, if he actually opens the playbook and gives Shedeur the green light to throw the ball 35 to 40 times, and if he builds a game plan designed to exploit Tennessee's weaknesses, then Sunday could be the breakout moment Shedeur Sanders has been waiting for in the NFL. We might be on the verge of seeing a stat line that turns heads across the league, something like 250 to 300 passing yards, a couple of touchdown throws, a strong completion percentage in the 60s or 70s, and a performance that makes the NFL step back and say Cleveland might actually have something special cooking at quarterback. A showing like that would change the way people talk about this team overnight. The idea that Shedeur could throw for over 200 yards with multiple touchdowns isn't just some hopeful guess. It's a realistic take when you look at the matchup, Tennessee's weaknesses, and what Shedeur can do when he's actually given the freedom to operate. Back at Colorado, Shedeur repeatedly came through when the lights were bright. He dropped big yardage totals on legit competition, delivered NFL-level throws every week, and showed the arm power to push the ball downfield with confidence. He proved he could hit receivers in stride, worked through progressions quickly, and found open targets like a true pro. All that talent didn't vanish just because he stepped into the NFL. It's simply been quieted by cautious play calling and limited chances. But if Kevin Stefanski is finally ready to lift the restrictions, then Shedeur is going to remind everybody exactly what he's capable of when he's free to play his style. We also need to look at the psychological side of this situation because confidence is huge for a young quarterback. Hearing your head coach publicly say he has no concerns about you letting it rip, hearing him tell the media he trusts you to be aggressive, man, that hits different for a player who's been stuck inside a restrained game plan. That kind of public backing can flip a switch mentally, remove the hesitation that comes from worrying about mistakes, and let a quarterback trust his instincts with way more confidence. Now Shedeur knows his coaches believe in him. He knows they're not going to criticize him harshly for taking smart chances, and he knows they actually want him to play with aggression instead of staying overly cautious. That type of mental freedom could be the difference between another quiet outing and a true breakout performance that sends his career in a new direction. And this shift in approach doesn't just affect one game, it has long-term meaning for his future in Cleveland. If Shedeur goes out there Sunday and delivers a big showing, if he racks up yardage, throws multiple touchdowns, and proves he can handle an aggressive scheme, the whole narrative around him changes instantly. Instead of people asking whether he's the long-term answer, fans and analysts will start talking about how the Browns can build around him, what new weapons they should add in the offseason, and how they can keep developing him into a franchise cornerstone. A strong performance can speed up his entire development timeline and lock him in as the undisputed starter moving forward. That's how fast things can shift when a young quarterback finally gets the reins. Stefanski also spoke on other parts of the team during the press conference, and his tone sounded like a coach locked in and determined to finish the season the right way. He talked about having a solid week of preparation, about the team being focused and excited to play in front of their home crowd, and about making sure they show their best football when it matters. That's exactly the energy you want from a head coach pushing his team into a crucial stretch. And when you mix that overall positivity with his specific comments about letting Shedeur rip it, you get a clear picture of a coaching staff that's finally ready to trust their young quarterback and put the offense in his hands. This is the moment where everything could start shifting for Cleveland, and the team knows it. The updates about the offensive line are huge because protecting protection is everything for a quarterback, especially a young player still getting used to NFL speed. Stefanski confirmed that they'll be rolling with new faces at right tackle and right guard, guys who've been grinding, learning the system, and waiting for their moment. The fact that he expressed real confidence in them, talking about their physical style and readiness, shows the staff believes these players can protect Shedeur and give him the clean pockets he needs to actually run the offense. If the offensive line can hold up against Tennessee's rush, if they can keep Shedeur upright and give him time to scan the field, then the door opens for a potentially explosive day from the offense. And that's exactly the type of setup a young quarterback can use to make a real statement in this league. One of the most interesting parts of this matchup is how big the moment is for Shedeur, not just inside his own building, but across the entire NFL. People have been debating his draft spot since the moment his name was called, asking whether teams messed up by passing on him and wondering where his ceiling actually is as an NFL quarterback. A dominant performance against the Titans won't settle every debate, but it will make the league pay attention. It'll make scouts rethink old notes, make general managers take a second look, and make fans and analysts question whether Cleveland snagged a massive steal in the 5th round. And most importantly, it'll put Shedeur on the national radar in a way that quiet, conservative game plans could never do. This is the kind of moment that can shift how a young quarterback is viewed by the whole football world. The comparison to how other young quarterbacks are being used around the league also shows why this shift matters. We've seen rookies this season thrown straight into heavy workloads, 40, sometimes even 50 pass attempts, asked to lead their offenses even when things around them aren't smooth. That approach comes with risks, no doubt, but it also speeds up development and helps teams find out quickly what they really have at the position. And now, the fact that Stefanski seems ready to give Shedeur that same chance, ready to actually let him throw, make plays, and learn in real time, shows the Browns are finally done treating him gently and are ready to evaluate him like a true NFL starter. There's also the home field factor, which could be a major boost for Shedeur. Playing at Cleveland Stadium in front of a crowd that's hungry for excitement brings a level of energy that can lift a young quarterback in a big way. Home games mean friendly noise, familiar surroundings, and fans who want nothing more than to see their guys shine and their team take a step forward. If Shedeur feeds off that energy, if he leans into the momentum that comes from playing in front of passionate fans, and if he delivers big throws and touchdowns that light up the stadium, that positivity can carry well beyond this one matchup. That's the kind of confident swing that can push an offense into a whole new level. And honestly, the Titans are the ideal opponent for this type of aggressive mindset. They're not a team that will overpower you with elite talent or complicated schemes. They've struggled in multiple areas, they're dealing with injuries, and they're walking into a road game against a team looking for momentum and answers. All that sets up a perfect opportunity. If the Browns come out swinging, throw the ball with purpose, take advantage of the matchups in front of them, and stay aggressive, they should be able to control the game and build a comfortable lead. And once you're playing with a lead, Shedeur can keep throwing, keep stacking numbers, and keep building confidence instead of being forced into that ultra-safe, clock-burning style that shuts the offense down. The phrase "let it rip" is about to turn into a full rally cry for Browns fans because it represents everything they've been begging to see from this coaching staff. It means trusting the young quarterback. It means being bold instead of overly cautious. It means understanding you can't truly evaluate a player if you're constantly holding him back and limiting what he's allowed to do. Fans have been tired of watching other teams across the league let their young quarterbacks air it out while Shedeur was stuck at around 20 pass attempts per game. Now, with Stefanski finally sounding ready to give Shedeur the same freedom, the fan base is fired up about what this offense could look like. And that brings us to the receivers and the rest of the offense, because when a quarterback is allowed to throw consistently, when he's given the freedom to spread the ball around, it opens the door for the entire unit to shine. Jerry Jeudy, even with the drop issues, is still a playmaker who can create separation and do damage when he gets real targets. David Njoku is a mismatch machine in the middle of the field. The running backs can help out in the passing game too. If Shedeur ends up throwing 35 to 40 passes, every one of those guys benefits from more chances to touch the ball, make plays, and build chemistry with their quarterback. Kevin Stefanski's comments about having no concerns with Shedeur letting it rip also hint that the coaches have seen something encouraging this week, something in practice that's convinced them he's ready for more responsibility. Practice doesn't always match game day pressure, but if Shedeur's been sharp, reading the defense well, and firing accurate throws, that would absolutely give the staff confidence to open things up on Sunday. The fact Stefanski mentioned they've had a strong week of preparation, that guys are locked in and focused, shows this team feels ready to turn a corner and perform at a higher level. And when you combine that mindset with the promise of a more aggressive game plan, suddenly the predicted stat line of 200 plus yards and multiple touchdowns feels extremely modest. Think about it. If Shedeur throws the ball 35 to 40 times and hits around 65% of his passes, that's roughly 23 to 26 completions. If those completions average only 10 yards each, you're already sitting at 230 to 260 yards. Add a couple of big-time throws, 20, 25, maybe even 30-yard chunk plays, and now you're closing in on 300 yards. Throw in 2 or 3 touchdown passes against a defense that's been vulnerable all season, and suddenly you've got a stat line that demands attention and makes people rethink everything they thought they knew about Cleveland's quarterback situation. And the crazy part? None of that is unrealistic. Those numbers are absolutely within reach when a talented quarterback finally gets real opportunities against a struggling opponent. The buzz around this game is real because it feels like a true turning point for Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. After weeks of cautious play calling, after endless debates about whether the staff actually trusted their young quarterback, after game plans where Shedeur barely cracked 20 pass attempts, we're finally about to see what he looks like when the leash comes off and he's allowed to run the offense his way. Kevin Stefanski's message couldn't have been clearer or more encouraging. He's ready to let Shedeur rip it, and he has no worries about his young quarterback playing aggressive football. He wants this offense operating on a whole different level, and Sunday against the Titans is when everything is supposed to finally come together. This is the moment Cleveland fans have been waiting on for weeks, and the stage is set for something big. This is the game where Shedeur Sanders finally gets the chance to show the league what he can really do when he's allowed to play his natural style. The opponent is perfect, the timing lines up, and the coaching staff sounds fully committed to letting him run the show. And if everything clicks, if Shedeur puts together the type of performance everyone who watched him at Colorado knows he's capable of, then Sunday could mark the beginning of something special in Cleveland. This isn't just another matchup on the schedule. This has the potential to be the breakout moment that changes everything for the Browns and their young quarterback. If you're fired up to watch Shedeur finally get unleashed, if you're ready to see what happens when Kevin Stefanski truly keeps his word and lets this quarterback attack the field, if you want to witness a performance that could announce Shedeur as a legit starter in the NFL, then make sure you smash that like button right now. Hit subscribe immediately because we're bringing you every angle, every breakdown, and all the insider perspective you need to understand what's really going on in Cleveland. And don't forget to tap that notification bell so you don't miss a single update, because this Titans game is about to be the one everybody's talking about for weeks. Drop a comment below with your prediction for Shedeur's stat line on Sunday. Yards, touchdowns, everything, and let's see who nails it closest when the final whistle blows. This is the moment we've all been waiting for, and Shedeur Sanders is finally about to show the entire NFL exactly what he can do when the coaching staff trusts him enough to let it rip.